folks, and welcome back to the Grumpy Gamer channel. That's it, you guessed it. This is that channel where you get to see this old git talk about modern games. So for today's in-car comments, well, I made a video yesterday, which in the end I didn't put up. I was talking about the layoffs going on within supermassive games and talking about what is going on in the industry. And then yesterday we get even more bad news to do with Sony, with 900 more jobs going. So I thought, well, it's pointless putting up that video. I might as well put them all together and make this one. So this is what I wanted to talk about today, the state of what is going on in the world of gaming. Like I say, there are over 900 job losses now within Sony. That includes Insomniac Games, it includes Naughty Dog, it includes Guerrilla Games, and also they've shut London studio. Now, that was the one that really sort of disappointed me, because London studio, you probably know, they made games like the London Heist, which was part of VR Worlds on the PSVR 1, and they made a great game, Blood and Truth. That was a fantastic VR game. It was actually one of my first games I played on the PSVR 1 and absolutely loved it. And I was hoping that we were going to see a port over to the PSVR 2, but clearly not. That's not going to happen. And we're obviously not going to get any more VR games from London studio. I mean, they hadn't made one, I don't think, since Blood and Truth. So it'd been a while, but I was hoping to get some sort of sequel or a new game from them on the same lines of Gangsters and all that sort of thing. That would have been great. So I'm sad to see that London studio has gone. They're a really talented team, so hopefully they can find jobs pretty quickly. I'm sure they will. And then obviously Naughty Dog. Now that's no surprise, I wouldn't have thought, seeing as they've cancelled their online game. If you've played Factions, which was part of the game of The Last of Us Part 1, and that was great. That was absolutely great. I played that on the PS3. I loved Factions. It was a very simple, sort of basic multiplayer game, and they were expanding on it now that it's going to be released this year, this new Last of Us multiplayer game, and it just got cancelled. So we have no idea why it got cancelled. They obviously weren't happy about it. But of course, with that being cancelled, then I can understand why they've had to get rid of a load of people, because probably a lot of those people were going to be working ongoing on this online game. It seems that Sony themselves have just been chasing games as a service. That's what everybody seems to be sort of obsessed with at the minute, making games as a service, because they're looking for that unlimited pot of gold at the end that just keeps pumping in cash. And as we know, lots of games as a service just tank badly. Look at the games, the Suicide Squad killed the Justice League or whatever. I mean, that's just absolutely tanked. And now we've got this Skull and Bones, which is supposedly a quadruple A game. Yeah, that's complete donkey dung. And I just wish these companies would stop chasing these games as a service. You know, Sony was always really good, especially through the PS4 era, at big single-player, story-driven games, very cinematic games like Uncharted, like Last of Us. You know, they're fantastic games, and Spider-Man, and that's what they're best at doing. But obviously, with how long games are taking to develop now, how much they're costing, they're seeing the return on just those story-based games. They want to be making more. You may know that Spider-Man 2 cost over $300 million to make. I still don't understand how that's possible when Spider-Man 1 2018, I think, cost around 150. So it's literally doubled. And it's like, well, most of that game world was already built with Spider-Man 1 and Miles Morales. It was already built there. So it's not as if you had to build this game from the ground up. But anyway, so yeah, it cost 300 million and apparently cost another 300 million to market the game worldwide. Now, so far, the game's only pulled in just over 700 million. So as it stands, they've made 100 million on a £600 million game. I mean, that's just insanity. And, you know, yes, it is a lot of money, 100 million, but they want to be making more. They want more and more and more. And it's just not working out for Sony. I mean, the whole gaming world is up in arms at the minute with what's going on with Xbox and what's going on with PlayStation. It's just such a volatile arena, and nobody seems to know which way it's going. So, yeah, I think the gaming world is in a real sort of predicament, and all these companies have got to try and navigate through it and get out the other side. You know, I think we're going to lose more studios. I think the key to it is they have to somehow get game development costs down and game development time down, which would obviously bring down costs. And I'm wondering how that can be done, because we can't just have games taking longer and longer and longer to make. You know, some games even skip generations. They take that long to make. I mean, it's crazy. So maybe AI is the answer. Maybe they can incorporate AI more into game development. I know AI is used in some games, but maybe they can get AI to do a lot of the heavy lifting with world building, etc. I don't know. I'm not a developer. I have no idea. But I think something has to change in the world of game development. Like I say, they're taking too long now. Yes, they're fantastic games. A lot of them, when they come out, look amazing, play amazing, but they're just costing so much and taking way, way, way too long. And I think that's one of the reasons it's causing problems. And like I say, games as a service is another one. I wish companies would just focus on what you're good at. Stop trying to chase that golden rainbow. Anyway, that's just my take on it, folks, of what's going on and the sad news that so many people are losing their jobs within Sony. You know, I wish them all the best and hope they get re-employed fairly quickly. Now, on to the next subject. Last week, you may remember, I was toying with picking up one of two games. One was Helldivers 2, which is a flat screen game, and the other one was Legendary Tales, which is a VR game. So I was toying which one to go with. And eventually, Saturday morning, I decided which one I was going to go with. And I went with Space Docker. Space Docker VR. So I just saw it on the store, and it was less than a tenner. If it had been 20 quid, I wouldn't have bought it. But I'd seen some videos about it, watched a few things, looked quite good. Sort of like a flying game, but not, because you're sort of floating in space. So I thought, what the hell? It's less than a tenner. I can't even get 2 pints of beer for that. Yeah, I'll take a punt on it and give it a go. And I thought it'd be a game that I might play for like half an hour and go, yeah, it's pretty trash, and just never pick it up again. But actually, I have to say I'm very pleasantly surprised by this game. One thing I will say, though, straight off the bat, if you suffer from motion sickness, you can't play flying games, that sort of thing, I would leave this one well alone, because it will make you feel motion sickness if you get that. As I've said before, my VR legs are armor plated. I can literally play anything now because I've been playing VR for years, so nothing really phases me. But so I went in, the first time I jumped into this game, I turned off all the comfort settings like I always do. And I turned off all the assists, because I like to try and get a feel of a game with everything off first, which proved pretty difficult. It was taking so long to just dock into some cargo. I thought, right, okay, let's put one of the two of the settings to make it easier back on. So I put on the movement. When you get within 30 meters of your cargo, you can obviously direct your tug, or whatever you like to call it, and then the boosters will automatically fire to keep you stable, stop you drifting off in any direction. Well, that actually I found made it too easy, so I just turned them all back off again and struggled through with no assists on, and I think that's the best way to play this game. Yes, it's frustrating, but it's definitely the way to play it. The game itself, graphically, nothing really to write home about. What can I compare it to? I can compare it to, yeah, a bit like Ultra Wings graphics. So it's not super realistic, but it's not too basic and rubbish. It's not very blurry, so that's quite good. The clarity of it's pretty good. I like the way they handle the movement in space, so you know which way your ship is actually traveling. they use space dust. So obviously that moves past you and you can see exactly whether you're traveling at a diagonal or just off to one side. So that's a nice little touch so that you know exactly which way you're going. The controls are fairly simple. You've got your 2 sense controllers, and they then are your gear sticks. If you're not gear sticks, they are like your joysticks. So it's a bit like controlling a tank in a way. It's that sort of control scheme. Myself, I just sit down and I put both controllers, I put them on my knees. The nice thing is you can adjust in the game the position of your joysticks. So I position them obviously where my hands sit on my knees, which is quite nice. Otherwise, if you couldn't move those, they would be way further forward and it wouldn't look right, wouldn't feel right. So that's a nice little touch they've got in there. There are various different missions. You just do normal cargo missions, where you pick up 3 boxes of cargo and have to deliver them. Then there's your nuclear missions where you have to pick up a nuclear bomb. And as soon as you pick that up, the timer starts ticking down and you better get it to where it needs to be, or it just blows up and you've got to start all over again. It doesn't kill you, it just blows you away, of course, and you've got to start again. Other missions in there, there's some quite infuriating ones surrounding black holes. So you've got to get to a piece of cargo that's whizzing around a black hole. And of course, as you're trying to get near it, you can easily get sucked in and spat out the other way out of the black hole. So they can be quite tricky. And then you've got races. I haven't done any of those yet. I've just been doing the usual missions. The introduction's quite good. It takes you through all the different ways of using your tug and the different capabilities of it, etc. And like I say, overall, it is a great little game, especially for under a tenner. Yes, like I said, if it was 20 quid, I probably wouldn't have bothered. But because it was so cheap, and I had heard some good little reports about it, I thought, yeah, I'll give it a go. Music in the games, not too bad at all. It's what you would expect for this type of game. You know, it's not in your face, it's not over the top music. It's quite sort of gentle, relaxing music. And the game, I would say, if I had to sort of categorize it, it is a frustratingly relaxing game. That's the only way I can describe this game. One thing I have found, which is a bit annoying, you can't pause the game. I can't find any way to pause the game, which is a bit strange. Because if I want to go and make a cup of tea, I could come back and my ship's just drifted off 10 miles. So yeah, I haven't found out. Maybe it's me being stupid, but I haven't found a way of pausing the game yet. So if you're looking for a little game that doesn't cost much money, you want something a little bit different, and you like flying games, I would say this is definitely the game to have a punt on. Chuck a tenner at it and see how you get on. If any of you guys have already got it, let me know how you're getting on with it, what you like about it, what you don't like about it. Just put it down in the comments. Oh, and don't forget to please give the video a like for me. Subscribe if you haven't already, and share my video if you can to people who you think might be interested in my nonsense content. So until next time, folks, I shall see you guys on the other side. Adios.